Hello and welcome back to another edition of Indiepocalypse Radio. I returned again as the host, Andrew. We're here with your. It's somewhere between a post-con hangout and a interview show. More on the former, less on the latter. But I do ask people questions. The format of an interview show allows it's a special kind of social lubricant where it gives people an excuse to talk to each other. Where you're like, I didn't have a structure for this. How can I just walk to a random person? It feels more comfortable asking people questions. But speaking of people to ask questions, we've got a couple of guests here from that aforementioned Indiepocalypse, which, of course, the ongoing anthology of alternative indie games. We've got one from about 10 months ago, coming on a year ago, with issue 63 of Indiepocalypse with Sarpedon. It's Colby Bird. Colby, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Not gonna lie, 11:30 is early for me right now. I've been
Okay.
on the degenerate sleep schedule, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, if I sleep in on the weekend, it means I'm up at like 7 or 8.
Ew.
Yeah, sometimes
Why?
because I wake up every day at like 5:30 to
Is
go to
this on
work.
purpose or is this?
Yeah, that's how I get paid.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it, huh? That'll do it.
I need that money to fund this endeavor. Uh,
I thank you for your sacrifices.
yes. Yeah, I keep this year I got to figure out how to ask because there's a lot of you see a lot of tech people angel investing things that fail within a year. Like Indiepocalypse has been failing for 6 years, so if you want that guaranteed failure, just angel invest me $1 million or so.
I like it. I like it.
And then I'll just just basically up how much I pay people and do the exact same thing. I might go to Australia. I think I might. If someone just angel
Yeah, they
invested
don't
me,
wake up before 5 in Australia. 100%.
yeah, yeah. If somebody sent me $1 million, I'd probably just like travel a little bit more.
As you should.
But yeah, I mostly cover my costs, and then I had both of my tax refunds accepted in these last 2 days, which is a great feeling to get more in tax refunds than I got in Itch.io sales. But that's just a
Did not
state.
have to flex on me that you've already done your taxes, but that's
Oh,
fine.
oh,
I was
Colby,
trying to not think about that, but
Colby,
that's
it's free
okay. It's
money.
okay.
It's free
I
money.
yeah, it's free. It's there's some emotional debt there, but other than that, it is free money. I do
Yeah,
gotta
no, I'm
lock
like
in.
someone will pay me like probably upwards of thousands of dollars just for filling out a form very quickly. I will love to do that.
You're stronger than me. You're so much stronger than me.
Yeah, maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's a thing that comes with age, and you get so used to just like, oh man, I'm gonna get such a. Also, I guess it depends how much money you have or do not have. When you're like, especially when I started this, and I was like, losing money, losing even more money, losing money every year on this project, which means my return went up. I was cruising. But anyhow, we're not here to talk about taxes, though. Though if you get money back, fucking, the government. I'm the guy in the dollar suit telling you the government has your money and they're going to give it to you. But
And you're right.
they do have your money. You gave them too much money. Why we have to? They shouldn't. Listen, they should know how much money that we need to give them.
I'm with you here. 100%.
But um, it is. There's also a bunch of people who could probably just shave a bit off the top and cover most of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's
I'm
it's
picking up what you're
happened.
putting down.
Although as a longtime Massachusettser, I'll say that they did implement a millionaire tax here, and now every time you drive past Marsh's Vineyard, it's just a giant tumbleweed across the ocean because all the millionaires moved away. They're all gone now.
Rest in peace, Martha, man. Rough
Yeah.
times, rough times.
Yep. As it happens, the millionaire flight, they're all retreating to somewhere else, I'm sure. But anyhow, video games. You made one, Sarpedon. If people aren't familiar with it, hey, what is this thing?
Sarpedon is my kind of esoteric ramblings on grief and regret and all
Yeah.
of those things told through the lens of the myth of Perseus and Medusa.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is a perfect. I frankly, video games need more like esoteric ramblings on just like
No,
I
bullshit's correct. You're
yes,
right.
bullshit is correct.
That's it.
Yes, I stumbled upon a short yesterday, on YouTube. That is, by I think it was Brandon Sanderson. I don't know what that guy looks like, but his account name was like B Sanderson. But
He had the aura.
he was talking about because it was like he was evoking Ebert again. I always like it I'm always curious when people evoke Ebert, in talking about video games, because he was like, oh, Ebert's saying that you can't video games can't be art because video games are things that you win or whatever, or so to summarize a summary of a summary. And I'm more like, damn, Ebert was still cooking with something. He was on to something. Like the more I think about it, the more not like, of course, the fundamentals of video games can't be art is something I disagree with, but like his justification just comes off stronger and stronger every time I hear it.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that, I think.
Because I do think games do have. I've been talking about this constantly. I do think games have a problem with like objectives, and them being something you inherently need to win. Things that inherently need obstacles when I don't think they need obstacles at all.
Yeah, it's you have so many tools at your disposal to give just an experience, and that experience doesn't necessarily have to entail winning. And I think a lot of the time it's far more powerful and a better use of the medium if you aren't pigeonholed into a kind of general hero's journey. I'm gonna win a thing, do a thing
Right.
storyline.
Which doesn't remove interactivity at all.
No.
Like, I'm on your page, and besides your own game, I'm looking at, is your house almost there? Which you can't win,
Mm-hmm.
But interactivity is an essential part of it,
Yeah, it's what makes games.
Right. It's our little bits that we include because it's a different kind of interaction than like, in theory, like opening a book is interacting, but that's a different approach. That's not quite the same style of interaction.
Yeah. Yeah, it has less impact on the work as a whole.
Right.
You have to engage with all media, but ideally, video game lets the way that you engage with it have some kind of outcome for either the game itself or your experience in it.
Right, because there's something said where you can't engage with the game non-sequentially,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could, with a book, open up to any section of the book, but you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to open up chapter 6 of this game,
You're giving me ideas now. This is dangerous, but
Right.
you're right. You're right.
You're like a game that you can open up just wherever you want to open it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to some degree, you can kind of accomplish that through cheating in games,
Yeah.
but not every game
Like,
has those options.
yeah. Before Your Eyes, which I haven't played, but I've watched enough YouTube videos on to act like I've played it. I think
Yes.
kind of does something like that, where whenever you blink it's still linear, but you're kind of skipping around, missing scenes, stuff like that, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
We got to explore that more.
I think people need to explore even just the idea of watching enough games and getting because length and sometimes like complexity is often a barrier to games.
Mm-hmm.
Of like sometimes you can't play. Some people are not just going to be able to play like some kinds of games,
100%.
But that's where our intrepid video makers come in, to explain whether it's a technical hurdle that you can't figure out or some other sort of personal skill hurdle that you can't overcome. Because difficulty in games is a weird thing,
100%. There's so many rules and kind of mantras that we just kind of assume that you've picked up over the 60 years or whatever that video games have been a thing.
Right.
But when Sarpedon is entirely just walking around and pressing E every once in a while.
Yes.
So I was like, surely my mom and grandparents can do this. They could not.
Right.
Those playtests hurt very, very deeply. I was very worried for a time. And then any of my gamer friends played it, and it's completely obvious how the thing works.
Right. And then I think Sarpedon is also a perfect example where, easy for a gamer to play, but not an easy game to, like, grasp at the same time. Like, you can, the classic game, you can beat it, but will you get what it was doing,
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I beat the game. What did you get out of it? There was a puzzle mini game.
Yeah, I did a pipe mini game.
Right.
I played some 3-card Monty. I don't know.
You're right. I beat all the puzzles.
Dialogue was weird.
Yeah, but what was the game about? I think I killed a lady.
Yeah. I don't really know why, but I don't know. It felt good.
Right.
I think it was the right thing to do.
Because that is a level of difficulty that exists in like all mediums, but I think people grapple with less frequently in games or acknowledge less frequently in games that their games are like thematically complex and difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think it's all intertwined. Because sometimes I think a game can be mechanically difficult and like be like, no, this is a hard game to play. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
That is part of the inherent challenge, of the work.
Beating my head against Clair Obscur for the last 3 days.
Right. No, I've been going through a lot of old video games and bumping up against some of the weirdness sometimes, and like I like also, just the nature of this project, I come across a lot of very, imperfect sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, has its own charm to it. Of like,
yeah,
the polished off edges are sometimes like, it's fun when something is less familiar,
Yeah, I feel like, and it's partially because there's a trillion people working on it, but I feel like a lot of AAA games, especially, you don't get as much of the artist's intent,
right?
Whether or not that's like the fact that they write dialogue bad, or it's that there's a bug here and there. It feels polished to the point of having less substance, like in the SpongeBob episode where he's just completely smooth and everyone hates him.
Yes.
And I like playing a game and seeing like there's clearly a person behind this, and whether or not I agree with that person, whether or not this decision was good, I like being able to see that come through.
Yeah, like because games even like tend to lack, like feels like even often lack like a strong directorial voice. Often even too like, a lot of people work on a movie and like a TV show, but you can see styles often that come from like directors or writers or actors or the component pieces of it. The games feel like they often have that like software approach where it's like they're just like making a commercial product more than anything. So a lot of that stuff just doesn't shine through in the same way.
That's a really good point. I've never thought of, like, I've had that AAA kind of smoothing out idea for a while, but you're right. There's a trillion people that work on a Wes Anderson movie, but I can still tell it's a Wes Anderson movie.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just because he's allowed to call more of the shots because he's Wes Anderson or what, but there's definitely, there's artistic vibe there that doesn't get lost when you add all these people to help.
Right. And those same things don't work without like, the the set team, the costumers. You know, if he didn't have all those weird actors all the time that he was leaning on, like, but you know, it's easy to get lost in the auteur, and you know, of it all when it's like, well, I mean, the real thing is that there can be a directorial voice, and that like often I feel like they have a team that they work with, they frequent collaborators, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Your Wes Anderson,
understand the vision.
How many like repeat actors does Wes Anderson have, you know?
Yeah.
How many people behind, if you were more in tune, if one was more in tune, how many behind the camera people are like the same across all these movies? And that's, you know, that surely exists in games the same way, but you know, one, like, even the diehards don't know these people usually.
Yeah.
And like, it just doesn't pop through in the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't manifest the same.
And it does feel kind of like it's like an intent thing, you know, like, because a bit of time as well, you know, you spend 5 years making a thing, but like they're not meant to be, every video game's not meant to be a piece of art, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, capital A art, quote unquote. Or, you know, whether the intentions of people is to make that. It just, you know, you get the feeling that, like, despite their best efforts, it turns into a product.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously, in any artistic medium, if you want to keep making things, you have to make money off of them. But I think that games, and maybe it's because they take so much money to make and there's so many people or whatever, but they do fall into the trap, I think, of, you know, executives need to make money, so we need this to appeal to as many people as possible.
Right.
And it's impossible to make good artistic decisions if everyone's going to like them. You're just not making artistic decisions at that point.
Right. And I think, like, just like the culture around games is also so that you don't have a lot of space feel like you don't have the same amount of like wiggle room in terms of like what a lot of people show up for and pay for.
Yeah, 100%.
For in terms of like, you know, recouping your costs, you don't have, and they're experiencing at the time where I feel like, you know, all mediums are kind of collapsing in that same way of making less of things but for more money. Which will presumably swing back at some point, as it always does, as people get sick of, there are 3 things that come out in a year and everything is Fortnite now. Why is fucking Chapel Roan in Fortnite? What is Fortnite even? I'm glad I get to kill Terrifier with Chapel Roan.
I love every day all of the Fortnite memes from like 2017 just become reality. There is Peter Griffin, Ariana Grande, and fucking Cartman from South Park all fighting in the Fortnite arena. It's art dies with a whimper, I guess. I don't know, but it's powerful to see.
It is like whenever you know, my monthly, whenever I scroll down, of course, to get my free Epic game that I'm never going to play, and I have to scroll past Fortnite, and I just see like, the Nike swoosh man. Whatever that even means.
Fan favorite character, Nike swoosh man, the American heartthrob, of course.
And is it interesting that is Fortnite interesting conceptually that it exists as it is? Sure, but it sucks also.
Yeah, I love it as a thought experiment. I don't like it as a real thing I can spend money on.
Right.
Did I buy the Power Rangers skin immediately? Yes. Did I have the game installed? No. But other than that, let's take a break.
Have I never played Fortnite in my life? Yes. Will I ever play Fortnite? No.
You're stronger than I again, and you've made just the correct choice.
I have
the correct choice.
There's no reason to do it.
No, there really isn't.
Granted, you know, I was an adult when Fortnite came out, so it's not like it was part of my youth experience.
Mm-hmm.
To be like,
I was.
Yeah.
freshman year of high school, I was in the throngs. That's all anyone ever talked about. I
Yes.
got off it pretty quick. I was enlightened at the time, so I knew to get out. But
Right. But then you grow up and you put away childish things.
hmm and you move to Overwatch like an adult. Like
Right.
it's not that hard, guys.
It's when you have adults, when you have real adults in the medium that apparently whose opinions matter, calling Fortnite like the 50th greatest game of all time, that you go, uh-oh, let's start video games.
Exactly.
Let's start video games all over again. I think we need to. I think we've got it. Video games are due for a fresh restart.
hmm
But
I mean, obviously there are people like us, the enlightened gaming consumers that like themes and like the idea of video games being a unique medium with which you can tell stories in unique ways. But there is, I think, more so than in literally anything else, there's a disconnect between what, even just considering the art in general. I think a
yeah,
lot of people just want to have fun, which is fine. There's the classic meme of the curtains are blue, and I feel like people don't even get to that point with games. Like they don't even notice that there's curtains. It's just I just want to have fun in this game.
right.
I don't even care.
Yes. How do I skip the cutscenes?
Literally exactly that. Yeah.
And it is like a weird thing to think about, like how like video games don't have like hipsters or film bros. They don't even have that you can like point to and identify what they would like. Like if I was to task you to come up with like what's the standard palette of like a video game hipster or film bro, a game bro, if you will. Like what is it?
Yeah, I couldn't give it to you.
Like what?
The Japanese visual novel people, but other than that, I mean, that's a subset. That's not
Right.
that's not everyone.
They feel almost exclusive. Like visual novels feel almost like their own world, separate from video games most of the time.
Yeah.
That like if a video game, if it counts U.S. video game culture, it's like because they're funny, because they're making a joke. Here's our Overwatch joke visual novel.
hmm Here's our Sonic mystery visual novel.
Right. The visual novel is where you do things that are unserious.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, video games, what a crazy thing those things are. I
Yeah.
have a question for you, and you don't have to give me top 10. This is a question from Robin, and this is a long question, or a heady question for someone right at the top, but maybe you can give me a one or two, because they have to ask, what are your top 10 fonts?
Fonts. Ooh, that's hard. High school beat it into me that Times New Roman is just the font. So
Yeah.
anytime I'm like writing a document by myself, it's either Times New Roman or Arial. I really like Garamond, which is
Yeah.
probably what it's called, but it starts with a G. I know
That is,
that.
yeah, I do use Garamond often.
Good.
It feels like a simple magazine typeface.
Yeah, it makes me feel like I'm doing important things, even when I know that I'm not.
Yeah. Um,
Other than that, I don't know. There's so many fonts I've downloaded from Google Fonts that I just don't know the name of. I do love a pixelated font, though. I am
yes.
a pixelated font enjoyer.
I have if I need a pixelated font, I think that's actually what the radio show's font is. Now that I think about it, I believe it's called Lunchtime Doubly So. It's basically the quintet, the Super Nintendo era quintet font, um, which is a
Looking at it
good.
right now, this is quality.
Yeah. Quintet's got a good font, um, but it is like it's pixely enough, but it's stylized.
Yeah, I like how it's tall. So many
Yeah.
pixelated fonts, I feel like they get trapped at like a very square aspect ratio. But you got some tall ass letters in this one. I like
Yes.
this. I like this.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I will also. We have a couple more questions for you. Now these are. Oh wait, the most important. I forgot to. It's been so long since I did this. I forgot to ask the question off the top of contributors. I gotta know. Hey, how'd you find Indiepocalypse?
Um, I don't even. I think I. I mean, first of all, I'm incredibly vain. So every day, ever since I posted games on
Okay.
itch, the first thing I do is open my computer, go to my dashboard, and see if anyone's played them.
Yes.
But then after that, I'll just browse. I try to play games on itch because I realize that if I don't play random people's games on itch, no one's going to play mine. And I'd just seen Indiepocalypse frequently, and I was like, oh, I wonder what this is. I think after seeing, 6 issues posted over 6 months, I was like, let's look at what this is.
Yeah.
And then I saw that it was open entry, and I was like, oh shit, I might as well give it a shot. I did not think I was going to get in. So much so that I missed your email like 8 times and almost didn't get it. But
Yes. I feel like the people, the people don't know or often feel like the most unsure. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like slam dunk entries most of the time.
Yeah, but it was, I don't know. That was pretty much it. And it's been cool ever since. It's easily the coolest thing that I have done with my video game career so far. So thank you for all of your hard work and waking up at 5 a.m. and everything.
Ah, yes. Well, I mean, that's unrelated. That's just how I survive.
You got to survive to make it, though.
Yes. Yeah. No.
I
No.
presume. I don't know what you got working for you.
No. No. If I was unemployed, Indiepocalypse would end immediately. that would be the death of Indiepocalypse. But until then, I think Indiepocalypse will end when I die, because I think it'll be too annoying to end it. And then this is something I realized on a long drive, is that it would be too annoying to, when things end and a bunch of people who you never saw talk about it suddenly talk about missing it and go RIP to a real one. That would just piss me off too much. I would be like, where were you people all 7 years when you could have been hyping this thing up?
We're on issue 3062, and now they're coming out of the woodwork.
Right, now that it's ended, people are like, it was such an important thing. I can't believe we lost this. I'm like, we lost it. This thing was like very nakedly, not sustainable, And that's like,
yeah, it was barely found.
And I think that's like, but that's also feel like the fate of like all independent, like small press publishers, where it's like you don't make any money on it, and eventually it just burns you out, and then you stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, I'll just wait until it doesn't burn me out. I'm good at developing habits, and since it's a habit, it'll just keep on going forever.
I believe. I'm punching in my ticket now that I will be sad when you die and it inevitably stops, if that happens before me.
Yeah, I'll be fine when that happens, though.
Day one. Okay, good.
That's the best version of it, because I won't be able to see it. It's like if it would be like if I stopped it tomorrow, and the best thing would happen if I stopped it tomorrow, and then like I said, Indiepocalypse is over, and then it kind of went with a little fanfare. That'd actually feel great,
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's, especially if you get people with like bigger followings that say, oh, we missed this, like, my brother, where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you, man?
So you got to get to entry 100 first. You're so close. But then you can do it. And then you have my permission to do whatever you want. Now we got to hit the big 3 digits.
Because once I get to issue 100, then I think I've numbered my things so it can it'll go in order until I get to like 1,000 or whatever. Like the way I've numbered them, because I do like O whatever.
Oh yeah, that's wise actually.
I number them all as O this in my file structure, so I have up until 999 before they start being sorted out of order.
Good.
And I think I can make it. I don't know if I literally can make
it.
That's
83 years. Yeah. So I believe.
Yeah.
I believe. I don't know how old you are, but I mean, just lock in. Medicine will improve, surely.
Yes, yeah. Extend the human lifespan,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I have a couple questions for you, unrelated to that. Yeah. First off, hey, what's your favorite type of rock?
Type of rock? Definitely sedimentary. I don't know
Okay.
if I have a favorite within that category, but I like the lines.
Yeah.
Big line enjoyer.
Yes. Um, and second unrelated question. Hey, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Googling Toho character, because I bet I do. Oh, I almost certainly do not. Let's see, who looks cool?
Well,
Clown piece. What the fuck?
okay.
I think I'm a clown piece enjoyer. Hold
Yeah,
on.
clown piece of course, the clown with that has like a jumper with the American flag colors.
I didn't even notice that. I might have to repick. I was just looking at. Oh, that's not a knife. What does she have? What is this? What am I looking at right now?
Well, Toho, of course, is a long-running Dojin series, primarily bullet hells in the main line, but also has a thriving fan game community. Like you could make a Toho game tomorrow and release it for money, and that's fine. It's got a cool kind of very open use kind of thing, within like
Yeah.
very slim criteria. It's kind of
Are
fun.
any of them not little girls? I'm looking. And
No,
I'm
no, they
not
basically all
finding.
are.
Okay.
No,
Okay. So
there's
it's not
a
weird to
catfish.
choose one.
There's a large unnamed catfish.
Oh, Cyrano has one name. I'm gonna go with
Yes.
Cyrano. I like the single name doing the Zendaya attack. I like that.
Oh, perfect. Well, Chloe, thank you for joining me here today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
We're gonna go on a break for about 3 minutes and 42 seconds, and we'll be back
Good amount of time.
after that. Bye for now.
Adios.
Analyze potential states. Superpose and paralyze. What if I choose wrong? Or stay hidden while you wait. Not all questions need an answer. I wonder with you. I feel new. Alive and in blue. I feel
Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Shimmer Glitch with Galaxy. We are back with our second guest of the show, who you may know from also issue 63 of Indiepocalypse with As Hermit Crabs Do. It's Horia. Horia, how are you doing today?
Hi, doing great. I'm enjoying ginger beer I got
Ooh.
for Valentine's Day, yeah, for myself.
Yes. No, those, like, the different ginger roots are the only, or like ginger beer in terms of like a soda, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, do they make ginger flavor? I mean, they could. There's enough like small batch homebrew stuff. But I
I'm
feel
sure
like,
they could.
yeah, no, those are the sodas that I lean towards. If I on the rare occasion where I have them, because I'm like, I feel like the flavor overrides the tearing apart my body of them. But right up first off, so I remember, I forgot it last time, I remember it this time. Hey, how did you find Indiepocalypse?
Great question. I right? I feel like I just saw it on Itch. I mean, we were talking about it, but I do think Indiepocalypse gets featured pretty regularly on the front page.
Yes, I think it's there right now.
Right, and so I feel like I must have seen it at some point and gotten curious. And then I saw even that with each issue you like give out the electric zine maker, like Natalie Lawhead's
Yes.
thing. And I love Natalie Lawhead so much.
Yes, yeah, no, that was
and-
likewise.
So I was like pulled in right away, and I thought it was such a cool project.
Yeah, that was from like the second or third issue I started doing that, because I was like, I want to encourage people to also make zines for it, and then I just like sent an email and saw what happened. Just see, like, I'll just send an email and see what happens, you know?
That's so cool. So you got permission.
Yes, no, everything in all of these things always comes with permission.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
And mostly payment, you know.
Cool. So Natalie also gets like
Not in this case, but that's
Okay.
also part of why I added Armor God to the tape club, you know. Make sure. Natalie also has a game within the Coos issue as well. So, like, even in the rare cases where something like that, I'm like, well, I gotta get this person involved some way, you know.
yeah.
Because, like, you know, that is the idea of, like, hey, if someone's making money off of you, you should be making that money too, you know. That's how I feel very conceptually. I feel like there's a lot of like spec work kind of stuff, and especially with like game jams, like especially ones that have like prizes. I bet if I search like, you know, prize game jams, it's like, hey, make a new game for a chance at a prize. Or it's sometimes even like, you know, use our special platform, use our special thing, join our Discord, do X, Y, Z, you know.
And you might get something for it, right?
Right. Cram for a month and you might get something. And I'm like, hey, I also agree that you might get something, but don't make anything new for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Take a thing that's been lying around that you've already made. And speaking of things you've already made, if people are unfamiliar, how would you describe As Hermit Crabs Do?
As Hermit Crabs Do is a game about taking a picture at the end of the world in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Basically. That's all there is to it.
But, you know, that's, you know, games can be all, you know, in the fortune of, you know, having just come out recently, game Poems, kind of like really drilling home that point of, oh, games can just be, you know, 2 minutes long, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like that side of games. I'm an art student. I'm studying like new media stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very much sitting in that strange kind of limbo zone of sometimes not really contemporary arts enough for contemporary arts,
Yes.
but then not really gamey enough to be a game thing.
Or you use different words to describe a problem I have been feeling for years.
Right? I mean, so like, what are we?
Right, right.
It's-
I've always said of Indiepocalypse is it's too art for the game crowd, too game for the art crowd.
right. Yeah.
So like, which exists with a lot of things, but like, games just don't have that middle ground. They don't have like that space between commercial and like experimental art or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in some ways you could make the point that H has kind of come in
Yeah.
to become that, but then it's so like there's so much going on X. So it's like, and even with the term indie itself, which kind of can be anything and everything.
Right. It doesn't mean
For games in particular.
yes, yes. With games, it's kind of like lost all meaning with games. Or if it has a meaning, that meaning in like the public consciousness trends towards like people who have millions of dollars minimum.
Right. It's a strange thing. There was this like really interesting video Ace Rolla made recently about like what indie means. And he was tracing the roots back with like the way the music industry used it.
Right.
Where to them there was this very clear bridge there with indie and alternative, right? So then indie also had kind of values attached to it.
Yeah.
But with games, it pretty much just means, I guess there's no publisher, question mark.
Right. Right.
So then, and then that's like, well, that can be anything.
Yes. Right. That like when I think of the term indie, I am often like attributing values to it.
Yeah.
Like values and creative visions, which is why a lot of stuff that like is independently made, even if it is independently made by a person in like their bedroom with no budget, I'm like, well, it's not really indie. You just made like a Vampire Survivor like or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you just kind of like made you like, to me indie feels like, oh, you need to make this because it would not get made otherwise.
Yeah.
Encapsulates like the core of what like indie means. Like in theory, a lot of stuff that is like are indie games are things that could get publishers. It's just like they're not there. They don't happen. They didn't make they made a farm game, but they didn't know the right people.
Mm, yeah.
But
Yes.
farming games, you have plenty of publishers. But a anywhere between a 2-second to 2 hour long, depending on the photographer's choice, photo game. You're not bringing that to a publisher anytime soon.
No, certainly not. I mean, like all the stuff that kind of falls into that weird, basically walking sim type
Right.
beat, kind of starts to steer away, I think, from the stuff that can be commercial, even though there have been like success stories like Proteus, whatever.
Right.
But it's kind of getting away from the territory of stuff that will get you millions of dollars.
Yes, or even $2.
Even $2, yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically doing it for the love of the game. Because
And sometimes a class.
yes, right. Often the the game dev student to Indiepocalypse pipeline is very strong.
I mean, it just works out, right?
Yeah.
2 months to make a weird thing for
Right,
your
and
class.
and also you're making a thing that you're not like worried about having to sell it ever.
But yeah, Exactly. So it can be like whatever the hell you want it to be.
Right. And I'm like the person who's looking for that whatever the hell you want to be kind of thing. Which, maybe no one else is looking for that necessarily. Which is besides like other developers.
Yeah, other developers and then their friends, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there is though. Like I think there could be a kind of interest there. Um, it's just like there's a strange disconnect, right?
Yes.
I don't know why this is the case with games, with like very small games.
It feels like I think about this a lot. Unsurprisingly, it's something that's always like living in my brain of like, well, other mediums have like an understanding of art that people connect with, and they don't have to be like be so deep in the art scene to care about it. Like people will just show up to them, like, and obviously, in all mediums, like the people who love like art stuff are usually just artists already. The people are in the deepest, but you'll get like more casual. I think I think because last year, I went as an attendee to an indie comic show, and then went as an exhibitor to an indie game show, and like the vibes were very different across the two. But there were a lot of people like at that indie comic show looking to buy small, personal, often experimental comics.
Yeah,
It was jam packed. And the video game show was like mostly like, hey, video games, you're a guy, you do a thing you expect a video game guy to do. You run around, you jump on platforms, you hurt people, or whatever.
right.
The language was very familiar, very standard video game. Like, if it was a more arts focused thing, would it work? And the answer is I don't know. You kind of have to do it for a while. You kind of just have to keep doing it. I mean, Amaze is the closest thing I think you get to that. But that is.
I'm not familiar with Amaze.
Oh, I would recommend it if you can go. Amaze is in Berlin every year.
Ah, okay, not too far away from me. That's cool.
Yes, I was like based on your accent, unless you've emigrated somewhere else. Chances
Yeah,
are
I'm in Europe.
chances are Amaze is pretty close to you, relatively speaking to me
Yes.
in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, usually all the cool stuff is in the US, and we just have to make do over here
But
in
see,
the EU. But
here's the secret thing: the coolest thing is Amaze, and that's in Europe.
oh man, oh wait, actually, I might have seen this before, I think, but I've never gone. But I mean, now
Yeah.
I'm getting,
Yeah, I would.
now
I would.
you're getting interested.
It popped in my brain because I saw in your friends section, I met Cumulet people there at
Oh,
Amaze.
Cumulé. They're
Yes.
really great. Yeah, they're like a Belgium-based small collective making games.
Yes, I'm loving the upticking of small collectives making games.
It's super cool. And Belgium has definitely kind of that small scene going on.
Yeah.
It's very because like we don't have like huge game. I mean, we have like Larian, Baldur's Gate 3, anyone, right?
Right.
But besides that, it's just like small devs and sometimes like one-man shows, just like people doing stuff on their own.
Yeah,
And
I
then it's really
feel.
funny because we had like the. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, you're cut me
Um,
off if you
but
do. Yes.
we had like so we have our own Game Award show and everything, and then I think last year I think we of course we had the Larian people over, and it was just like, I mean, it was very strange because they like basically swept everything, and you have to imagine just like the Game Awards over
Right.
in the US, the big ones. But then imagine it to the scale of Belgium, where it's like everyone is just like teams of 1 to 10 people, and then Larian games, and they're getting all the awards, and like everyone's like tiny little passion project is just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Right.
cool, right? Um,
I mean that hits on like another weird problem of games of like it feels like financial success is like one of the most important aspects of video games.
yeah,
Where it's
games
like
are very hard to make.
right, and it's like, oh, we this game sold a bunch, so obviously it's the best video game or whatever.
Yeah, and especially if the game comes from like a place where the scene is not that like huge.
Yeah.
Like, of course, like for us, for I mean, for people here to have a game be that like internationally successful is like really big deal. So that's why it's getting all that recognition. Um, but then I think it's also maybe taking away from the fact that it's kind of cool actually to have this weird indie scene going on with a bunch of small collectives doing their thing. Like there's
Right.
like a lot going on here, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like the award should have been like, here's your award for Larian. We get it, you're big. Here's the Larian award for
yeah,
Larian, and then let's actually
exactly.
let's actually let all the other nominated people get a shot at something.
Right, right.
Because I feel like that is the sort of like I'm the longer I've been doing this, the more I start to see like people like Cumulit, scoping very small, making like a larger number of small games. Like the number of people who are doing that has been increasing. The number of like collectives and like more identifiable scenes has been like starting up.
Yeah.
And it feels like games are like finally getting like a cohesive indie scene.
I feel so as well. I really do feel that. And yeah, like what you were mentioning about like the game poems thing,
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a consolidation of specific like interests as well and niches
Yeah.
that are kind of catering to specific communities, kind of gathering around them,
Right.
which has been really cool and interesting to see. I mean, it's kind of a good time to be in the scene.
Yeah, because a problem, if games culture has a problem, of course, games culture is largely flawless. But if I had to give it a problem, um, it is that it's too people push too much for it to be homogenized when it being homogenized doesn't make sense and no other. How many other like universal pieces of art come out in a medium in a year? Like two, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where like it feels like games everyone has to like swing from new release to new release like they are like, oh no, these are like it's like like having more individual there's a lack of more individualized taste, at least in like a publicly identifiable scale.
Yes, for sure. It's like the game doesn't have to be what we think the game has to be. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
But I think because games are so codified in a way, we tend to kind of just like graft the game stuff to games, the typical game stuff on them,
Yeah.
when it's like we don't have to do that. It can be anything.
Right, it can, and it's always kind of like been able to be anything. And there's always room for people to make weird stuff, but it's easier for it to get lost. So, but I've got a trio of questions for you. And first up is, what are your favorite fonts looking like?
Oh my god. My favorite fonts, big one. Um, I mean, so I use Dot Gothic all the time.
Okay.
Big up. I love that font so much. And then I don't know if they're fonts I necessarily use a lot, but I'm a big fan of what the people over at Bye Bye Binary are doing. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No.
They're kind of just like they're also Belgium based. It's like a font, like a foundry basically, making fonts that are meant to be more inclusive, especially for the French language. I'm a francophone.
Okay.
I speak French. The French language is kind of weird and stupid and very gendered. grammatically.
Yeah.
And so their project is basically making fonts that can be used in a gender neutral way
Okay.
and have special characters that kind of reinvent almost the way we think about written language in a more inclusive way.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, and it's like there's been this whole renaissance with like French where a lot of people are thinking of ways to like write this language and speak it without it being so gendered all the time. And they're part of that, and I think they're doing super cool and interesting work,
Yeah, that was
making weird fonts, but that are also fun and kind of thinking about language.
right. No, I'm looking at them now. They are good fonts. It's a good little collection because sometimes a good font is hard to find. Like that line, finding something that's between like very boring and also good. Like either get boring but functional, or like it's a little too ostentatious.
Yeah, and then also open source if you want
Yes.
to print. Oh
Yes.
my god, having to like print something and then it's like not printing it because you didn't know it, but it's like there's like some hard coded thing in there that makes it so
That right.
because you didn't buy it, it won't print. It's like crazy.
It's one of those things that in one way makes sense, but in another way it's like, why would I have to ever like the idea that I would have to pay for a font in my life?
Right.
They're just letters.
I mean, I feel like I don't know. There's like a history there to fonts and foundries that I'm not familiar with enough.
Right.
But I think at some point there was like a big shift, right? Because no one ever thinks like I'm gonna pay for a font now. But obviously there's for some fonts there's an expectation there towards that.
Right.
I mean, there's people that study fonts and how to make them. So I mean, it is like an art form in its own
right.
and all that. But
Right. It's the problem of everything is so tied up in the capitalism of it all. Of well, somebody has to spend time to do this, but that person also has to eat and live in a place. So in theory, they need money.
yeah,
But it's like, well, money really complicates all altruistic endeavors, Mostly because
Yeah,
you need
for
money to
sure.
survive while you're doing those endeavors.
yeah, and you want to make cool stuff,
Yeah.
but then you also want to make money out of them, and sometimes those can be. I mean, I don't want to say incompatible, but
Yes.
they can clash a little bit.
Right. I think there's a lot of things that are just would probably be like good public services that are just like not financially viable.
Yeah,
That would kind of benefit everybody if we did them. But hey, what can you do? You got to make money. Hey, what's your favorite type of rock?
my favorite type of rock. I don't know if this is a rock. Okay, so you're gonna have to tell me. Is
Okay.
basalt a rock?
Ah.
Is that a rock type thing?
I think so. Yes, is an igneous rock.
Well, there you go. Because one of my friends' names is Basalt, so that makes it my favorite rock.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
It is. It's also a cool looking rock.
it is. I think it's like volcanic type
Yeah.
thing, which is super, like, cool.
Yeah, I mean, volcanoes are a whole other like huge thing. Like once you start just digging into like the concept of the world, I'm gonna not think into the concept of the world too much. There's a lot going on in it.
Yeah.
But hey, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Favorite character, as in like fictional character? or,
Toho.
like, what are we?
Like Toho
Oh.
specifically?
Oh, Toho.
Yeah,
No.
perfect.
I'm sorry. I'm not familiar.
No,
I mean, I
that's-
know about Toho, but no personal experience there.
That's fine. No is a perfectly allowed answer for that question. People often get trapped in thinking they need to find the answer. The answer could just be no. I don't. But so, Horia, thank you for joining me here today. We're gonna go on another break
I
in
mean,
a second.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, love to have people on the show. There are infrequent events like a maze where I get to see people, but chances are, people.
I
Do
mean,
not,
next year, right?
Yeah.
Next year. I mean, I don't know. Are they having it this year also?
Yeah, they are having it this year. I think it's when is it? It's like I forget when it is. It's not too far from now.
Oh my god. Well, I'll have to be there.
It's in May.
Okay, May.
Yeah, I am planning to go. I'm pretty sure I can get in pretty easily. I got.
Bringing in your tapes.
Yes. No. Amaze was a very good show for me. Because it's like also like laser focused for people who want exactly what I have.
Right.
And also like to see a bunch of people who are like, oh, I was in this thing. You know, I'm me. I'm that person. I get to be, oh, you're that person. I might have met, there may be a person on this show that I met at Amaze. But we are going on a break, and we will be back in, where's my little guy? Here we are. About 3 minutes, 28 seconds. Hey, goodbye until then.
Bye-bye.
Dance beneath the starlight, entwining ever tight. Ice cold hands grasp for anchor, spreading web of tendrils, parasitic roots. One day I woke up unknown. Fortresses of thorns grew, shadows twist like vines, overgrown under their spell, tangled mind. The darkness, the earth, and the cold winds see us, flames that soon till they waves of tidal forces. In dreams I searched for you, but now I'm tired of longing. This distorted chaos when you were never real. Projections of my nightmares, distant view. When the darkness, the earth, and the cold winds see us, flames that soothe till they burn, and to
Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio again. That was Shimmer Glitch with Neptune. Now we are speaking to that eponymous artist now, who you may know from the previously newest issue, no longer newest issue, Indiepocalypse 72, with Mega Beast Y2K. It's Claire Morwood. Claire, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It's late in the well, not late. It's 8 o'clock in the evening here.
You're right.
But
Right. That's
it's late,
one,
late in those for you.
that's what I used to do the show in person. Like I used to do it at 7 o'clock, but that was like impossible for European guests. Now it is. And I had enough split. Like the longer I did the show, I'm like, oh, I have a decent split between like European and U.S. guests, where I should probably start, or contributors. So I should probably start doing the show at like 2 o'clock my time, so I can hit U.S. and Europe. I lose out on East Asia, but that's why I return to 7 p.m. for them, which is what next week is going to be. I've got some
Cool.
but that's we're not here to talk about scheduling. We're here to talk about, hey, I think I might know the answer to this question, but hey, Claire, how did you find Indiepocalypse?
Well, I think I had actually kind of heard of it, like kind of just around and about on the internet, but then
Okay.
I properly did like find out about it when I was at Amaze last year, and I came to your stand and looked through all your amazing cassettes.
Yes.
And it was just like, oh my god, look at all this cool art and all these cool games. And then we chatted for a bit.
Yeah, no, we were next to each other. I am pointing at my out of reach my Asterism CD I have
Yay.
on my shelf next to me. That's
Cool, thank you.
that's not an MP3. That's a raw rip from the CD that I'm playing on this show, which is one of the and so people are unfamiliar. How would you describe Mega Beast Y2K?
So Mega Beasts Y2K is a tabletop storytelling kind of game, like pen and paper game, where everyone draws a bunch of animals and then you each get to pick two and merge them together into a Mega Beast, and then you kind of battle them through like I guess like debating who would win in like various categories.
Right.
So it's a silly game with like drawing and talking.
Yeah, like it is, in some ways sort of like one step removed from like an exquisite corpse style thing. But like collaborative art, is fun.
Yeah, definitely.
And conceptualizing collaborative art, you have like a large selection of Mega Beasts on the store page itself for Mega Beasts, or the game page itself. I'm trying not to call them store pages. Sometimes, whenever I fall
Page
into
for my
like,
free game.
right, whenever I fall into like using commercial language, it feels weird, and I'm like, I don't want to call them that, but. So what got you into the idea of doing both, as someone who does both tabletop and digital stuff?
I guess I'd been doing digital stuff for a while. I mean, I suppose like when I was a kid, I was doing like tabletop stuff and less digital
Right.
stuff, and then I kind of at some point was like, oh, you
Yeah.
can make games on the computer. That's cool.
And a lot of your stuff is also very mixed media,
Yeah, I think I've always enjoyed doing a bit of both. But yeah, I don't know. I think part of it was just that I got quite tired of programming. To
Yes.
be honest, I was like, I don't know, yeah, a lot of things that there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, but there's a lot of things that take a lot of time and can go wrong with programming.
Right, especially
especially on like larger games.
Yeah, especially if it's like a thing you don't want to do, like you get caught up at a part you don't want to do about it,
Yeah, so then I was going to a local meetup that we've got for sort of making and testing tabletop games. And at first I was just like going along and playing stuff, but then started like, I guess like, yeah, got into sort of like, well, it's through like another game as well. Like one of my partners has a game that's all about like making. Well, it's called making it up as you go along, and it's you do like make the game together as you go. And then we started adding rules about like drawing animals, and then you like circle animals to claim them, and then it sort of started coming out of that game by itself. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I could like extend these rules a bit. And so it was nice because it was just this really like playful way of making a game together that didn't have like the stress of the digital tech side of it. It was very refreshing.
Right. That's like the you know, I mention this a lot with like people to do tabletop. Like the fun thing about tabletop is if it doesn't work, you just say, oh, that doesn't work. What if we just change this number? Like,
yeah, it's so quick.
Right. This mechanic doesn't make sense. You know, you can see like even playing more traditional tabletop games, you're like, oh, this fight's taking a long time. Actually, the creature's just dead now. Like you can just like change rules inherently, which is freeing in a way, but also like you want to also like constrain, like the fun of like constraining yourself to a system though at the same time, like your own. It's like the classic human practice of make pretend, but with a little bit of officialness brought to it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like there's a different set of frustrations and like difficulties in making like non-digital things that I've made like 1.5 other tabletop sort of games since then as well, and I'm learning about the process. It's interesting. It's like, I guess like similar in some ways, you know, like you still got to think about game design,
right? Because
then it's
because it's a luxury that you can just say, hey, let's change the rules. But if you make something and everyone just changes all the rules of something because none of them work, well, what did you make? Like it's a lot of it is, I think, about finding that balance. It can be a harder thing to balance because they don't break, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because like you can't play test alone and have like, you know, a tabletop game will never fail to run. A tabletop game will never crash.
Yeah.
So you sort of need other people to play it with you to kind of get a sense of, does this work? Because you're so familiar with it.
Yeah, which I guess that's kind of the same with digital games as well, though. Like you can I mean, apart from like if there's literally errors and it doesn't run, there's still things that you're unlikely to find if it's your own game, just because you're in the habit of playing it a particular way.
Right.
At least in my experience.
No, that is like I've in judging games for Indiepocalypse, I often try to get into headspace of like, if something's not working right, I try to like play it in that particular way that the developer has probably played it. Like I've gotten better at finding the developer's path, so to speak.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Of like, and I think sometimes like people will, like I've seen people will like get, like, oh, I got stuck, or there was a bug or something in a game. I was like, oh, I didn't encounter that, because I'm just like, you just sort of get more attuned to it over time of kind of like not straying off the path necessarily in the way that some people like will play games and like kind of like, you know, bounce all around and trying to like find weird edges to things.
You're like psychically hooked into the indie developer approach of playing a game.
Right. Yeah, because it is like, oh yeah, this person like probably tested like one, like unless they had people to help them test it, they probably tested one path of this game. And most of and they're probably like, there was stuff around the edges, it probably all works. But especially if you made something like a week or a month, you're like, that's not getting play tested.
Yeah, it's only so much time you can get, or even just like, you know, so many like ways that you can think of to play it.
Right.
I think even if you like really exhaust everything you can think of, someone will still come along and just play it in a way that you don't expect.
Yeah, and then and sometimes the imperfections of the charm of things. I it was neat too. One of those things that you can't see necessarily. Why people ought to go to museums. I'm blanking on the guy's name. He made giant, colored pictures, which is, I guess, most art. But it was very angular, very very simple colors. But I forget. I've been blanking on the person's name. In the moment, I will find it. But in getting up close in person, you could see the pencil marks that were made beforehand that were the drafts of making those lines. Soloit, there it is.
Okay.
But that is in theory that would be you wouldn't want those. You probably wouldn't want to see the leftover pencil marks on the wall. In the same way
I don't know. I would.
Right. And that's the
Sounds
texture of the art in the same way that sometimes games don't work quite perfectly right, But you're oh, I'm just running up against the edges of human limitations. I'm encountering humanity. And it's been playing during the breaks. It is also a Tape Club inductee. So if people are unfamiliar, I'd be remiss to ask, how would you describe asterism?
So Asterism is an interactive music video game where there's an album of music, and for each track on the album there's a level in the game where you're sort of in the music video for that, and it's all set in space and made out of a mixture of digital and handmade stop motion, sort of claymation, papercraft stuff.
Yes, I think that because that was your original submission. I'm like, what are you doing? It was yeah, let me sideline this somewhere else real quick.
It was very nice to be able to have two games recently in Indiepocalypse.
Yes.
Cool to be involved.
within my greater whatever branding of this whole thing, but because I think it's a lot of things that I think could immediately jump out at. There was that game that I can't think of off the top of my head that was a submarine or whatever. That was all stop motion stuff.
Oh yeah.
But that also.
What the recent?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm blanking on what it's called, but
Another one.
But it's one of those things that you think about it when it was oh wow, oh yes, Harold Halibut, that's the one. And you think wow, stop motion, but it's yeah, people have also been doing that for a while, but they probably do not have the marketing team of a Harold Halibut, necessarily. Even though like yourself and a lot of people do work within stop motion and claymation and handcrafted stuff, and it's just some, as I'm sure you experience, how do you get that stuff out there?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think I don't know. I'm not a very good marketing person, really. I kind of did it. I tried a little bit on various social medias, and then I remembered that I don't like social media. I'm not. I don't know. I guess some people are really good at that stuff and really like it. And yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I prefer make stuff.
I would say I don't like it. I'm not good at it, but I try to be a little better at it and like it a little bit more than the people who are featured in the Apocalypse. Well, if somebody's got to do it.
Well, thank you.
No problem. But I also feel like it's one of those things where a lot of stuff just does not show, on social media. It just does not, the true classic, how do you show how do you cut a trailer for a Twine game,
Yeah, it's tricky. I tried to sort of reach out to a few places. And I did. I mean, I had it in like it was in like Edge magazine, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like very surprised when I saw it as well because it was like a full page of it and like it had text about it and pictures and stuff. But I think even with that, it didn't seem to impact too much on like how many people actually kind of like downloaded it and stuff.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
so I don't really I don't know how you market things. I really
I
it's,
genuinely like. I feel like getting press attention at most seems to find. Oh, that's how other developers find it or whatever.
yeah. But I like taking stuff to events if I can. That's like a
Yes.
nice way of actually interacting with people face to face. I think that's something I do better at than like interacting with people online in a sort of social media way.
Yes,
So I prefer doing that.
my yeah, no, I have having, you know, in the first segment I was talking about doing my taxes, and I made like let me look at it exactly last year, because last year is when I did like the most events that I'd ever done. You know, I did like a maze, 2 PAXs, and then like other stuff too. I wanna do EGX. Because technically
cool.
I've been in the left field collection before. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I could probably get in the left field collection again, like, and actually like go, but I actually want to go there.
Yeah. Oh, let me know if you go.
But I need to figure out how to do that. It does not seem to be up if they have things right now, but because yeah, people like connect with things in person way more than like they do online.
Yeah, it's nice like for me like having made a game as well to just sort of see that in-person reaction and have a chat to someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure this is a relatable experience of like I have a difficulty with like a little heart next to a symbol or something doesn't mean like I don't connect with that at all. Like, oh, this thing has 30 hearts on it. Okay, I guess that's good.
Yeah. It's still nice. for
Right, it's
sure.
still nice, but
yeah.
it's harder to connect with like one person like saying, "Oh, this is very cool," and seeing them in person saying that. Yes, I made in event sales last year. In event sales, I made more than half of what I've made in itch on totality, like in all of it, all time.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess when you're in person, like, because I guess when I saw like the stuff that you were selling there, it's like so nice being able to like rifle through all the cassettes and like I don't know, there's something like nice about it being physical, I think.
Right. Yeah, no, you know, like and it goes the other way of like, you know, sitting next to and looking at like the CD for like a back and forth all day. I was like, oh, I'm gonna just get one of these eventually. I have cash on me. Like it's nice to have a
Yeah.
thing.
It's also cool that they have that at Amaze, like because it was a maker's market
Yeah.
on the final day, and there was a bunch of other people selling stuff there as well, and it's I guess you kind of get that at other events sometimes, but it feels a bit different. It feels a bit more like commercial sometimes.
Yes.
Um,
And
So yeah,
I do see very few people like selling stuff at like game events that I go to.
yeah. My problem now is I've got like I think I made like 100 copies of that CD,
Right.
and I have sold like half of them, so it's gonna. But I just got like this box of 50 CDs. So I was like, what am I gonna do with these?
Yes.
So,
I
just try and find more game events to go to.
right, or just sneak your way into just different art events. You know.
Yeah.
I increasingly run into a story because I try to keep at least 4 of everything on hand, but when I make 2 new things every single month, that number gets bigger and bigger. It's like, how do I, you know, I now need to keep like 400 games at the ready, you know.
Wow.
which is a lot of a lot of
Because there's so many
things.
boxes.
Yes, yes. And I have to find a good way to like actually store them, you know?
Mm.
Or I'm like, I just want to make a lot, because I can't make like 100 of one thing, because you know I'm not going to sell 100 of a single issue, or take me forever to do that. I think
Mhm.
I want to have everything available so people can buy one of everything. But
Mm.
hey, what do you think of fonts? Do you like them? Do you have a favorite one?
I was trying to think about this when you asked the others as well. I don't know. Does word art count as a font? Because I quite
I think so. It's
like
like that's
word
like a
art.
person. That's like a artisanal font.
Yeah. Um, yeah. When I made the like the front cover for Mega Beasts Y2K, I was like, well, it's set in the year 2000.
Yeah.
It's only right that I use some some word art for that. And yeah, you can just there's like websites where you can still make it, and it's fun. Like
Yeah.
font, yeah, text with shadows and embossed bits. That's
Yes.
that's cool.
I'm sure there's a name for that font that I'm sure they all use, but I do not know what that name is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a good fontophile that I can identify these things. Now, do you what's your favorite type of rock?
Um, so this is tricky.
Yeah.
I studied geology, so I feel like I should have a good answer. But I I like sandstone because it's got a lot of very cool like sedimentary structures and sometimes fossils in it. It's got like cross bedding, which is really cool because you can like read the history of like wherever that sand was deposited. You can like, oh, it's just like the I don't know. It's why I like geology.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
kind of nerd
no.
out. It's like like being able to like look at a rock and be like see into the past is so cool. And so I think yeah, I guess all rocks allow to do that, but I think the sedimentary structures in sandstone have always been a favorite of mine.
Yeah, no, that is like just cool thing conceptually. Like humans, we make a lot of mistakes as a species, but it is like no other species. Like I'm so interested in these rocks that we're gonna develop an entire like pool of knowledge just to learn about rocks.
It's
Like
amazing.
like we, humans may be just like stupid animals who learn to think too much, but we think of a lot of cool stuff sometimes.
Hmm.
Uh, and like, anyhow, not to get too in the weeds of the broadness of humanity and how why are our brains too big that we can create misery for ourselves, and that we create all these weird rules that we have to live under.
Hmm.
But do you ever hear a Toho character?
So my only experience with Toho is watching speedruns of it. But I did go on the wiki and I looked at the characters, and there's the one I think you talked about earlier, the giant catfish.
Yes.
So I like unnamed giant catfish from the picture.
Yes. No, I think the last time that came up, at some point, I think if I just keep talking about unnamed giant catfish enough on this show, maybe I can build some culture around it, and then because I would, with a thriving fan game community, have a unnamed giant catfish game jam where it's all games centered around unnamed giant catfish
That sounds great.
and
I wanna play those
nothing
games.
else. No other like it must be the central character in all the games.
Do you know how giant catfish is? It doesn't say on the wiki.
No, and it's hard to tell with like scales and bullet hells like how big something is. Like because everything's like kind of similarly sized.
I don't even know how big a normal catfish is.
I think catfish can be pretty
Okay.
big
Yeah.
because I think you can like catch them. Are catfish the things that you like catch with your arm? Is that the thing that guys do? Is like I'm gonna catch catfish by sticking my arm in the water and it's gonna try to eat it or
Okay.
whatever. Am I making that up? No, catfish arm fishing is auto completing. Oh, it's called noodling.
Oh, I mean, there's a picture on Wikipedia of two people holding a catfish, and they look like they're struggling.
Yeah, no, they're
So
pretty
I
big.
guess that's how big they get.
But
Okay, so giant one's bigger.
yeah, but catfish are a kind of thing that you can catch by like using your hand. I don't think I'm not sure how safe it is. Seems like it's probably pretty unsafe just sticking your hand in the water for a fish to try to eat it. But because also who knows what else is in that water?
They also look like they've got teeth. Big
Yes,
teeth.
yeah, they probably got teeth to bite something with. But hey, man, that's just bringing it back to the bear style. We're just like, I want some fish. I'm gonna just stick my hands in there to go get that fish. That said, we're gonna go on one last break. And it's called something similar to Old Man Fish. I'm curious to now. That is like, I will talk about one of my favorite linguistic things on the back from the break because I like language, or like how we share language between each other. But we will be back. Claire, thanks for joining me here. I'm finding here it is, found it. We'll
Thanks
be
for having
back
me.
in like a minute 29.
Languages are complicated.
Yes, languages are very complicated. Welcome back to the show. We are that was Shimmerglitch with the final, not the final track, but the final track of the show, of course, with Sun. We're talking a little bit about language and how in French, catfish is just catfish, but in French,
But yeah, fish cat.
fish cat. Well, that's because
Yeah.
like I'm more familiar with Spanish, but Spanish does the same thing often. Its adjective noun is inverse to how it is in English. So I imagine it is similar in French where it's adjective noun or noun adjective, or the other way around. Whatever it is, whatever it is in English, it's not that.
Yeah.
I've said the word adjective and noun too many times and I've lost them. Hey, the whole crew's here. Hello, everyone. We're all
Hey.
Yeah.
hanging around.
Hello.
My favorite little bit of language fun is that I think I've talked about on the show before, but it's the word calc, which is it's a linguistic word for poisson cat. With my horrible French pronunciation of that, which is to say, it's a word that's translated literally, like word for word. In the same way, a lot of different countries the classic Wikipedia example is the English word of skyscraper being translated to like Wolkenkrabbe in Dutch, which is skyscraper, just word for word, little translation.
Same in French, actually, yeah. Gratte-ciel. But it's inversed again. It's
Yeah.
like a scraper sky.
But the pleasure, the true pleasure of the word calc is that calc itself is a loan word from French that we use in English. That's just a French word that we've borrowed to use that meaning.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
the
I
French.
think I know what
I'm probably
you
mispronouncing
mean.
it.
Yeah, but wait, I'm going to type it in
C-A-L
chat. Is this right?
C-A-L. It is
No.
spelled C-A-L-Q-E-U.
C-E-L-Q...
C-A-L-Q-U-E.
C-A-L... Oh, calc. Okay, yeah, I got you now.
Which I guess
Oh,
means
man.
I think it means like copy or imitation or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, calc. And also we use it to mean layer now in
Yeah.
French. Like if you're talking about layers in Photoshop, in French you're gonna say calc.
Oh.
Yeah.
The final calc layer of this all is that calc is a loan word in English, but loan word is a calc from German from loanwort.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
It's going
It goes
too
so
far.
deep.
Yes. So it's
Yeah.
just this endless like little like rabbit hole of language.
Yeah. But English is particularly, I think, messed up in that regard with
English is all
loan
screwed up.
words and influences and
Yeah.
random French monks coming in and adding words they
Yeah.
shouldn't to the language.
Because calc is also looking up calc is also how I learned like that flea market is a calc from French.
Oh, yeah. Marché à puce. Probably,
Yes,
yeah.
because it's just a word that's just always existed, and it's like, oh right, like the flea market makes no sense
It is very, I mean,
in English.
but I mean, even in French, it's like kind of, you're like, I'm sure there's a history there,
Right.
but actually I don't know it. So this is just strange.
Right. Right, and as Cody who was saying in the chat, like right, a lot of stuff is borrowed from like colonization and like
Yeah.
it's when I learned like when I learned that honcho is a Japanese word, likely.
Really?
Yeah, it means what you think it means. It means boss, but spelled. But honcho comes from Japanese.
I had no idea.
Me either until I was learning kanji, and I was like, wait a minute, honcho. I know what that word is. That's an English word.
Hold on, that's ours. Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
And that surely comes from like post World War II occupation, and
Right.
like servicemen bringing that back to the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, the history of the peoples that have been somewhere is kind of like pressed into a language sometimes. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and then cross culture. I'm I'm on the flea market page, and in this flea market, Genton Dentist comes from India. So much pleasure of language. There's a Wikipedia picture of a flea market in Malaysia. Right in the center is a guy with an Austin 316 T-shirt.
Love that.
But that all aside, important bit of Indiepocalypse related news. Of course, careful listeners will remember a few weeks ago I was like talking to Spencer Hayes about Yakuza and Kabukicho, and I was like, I saw that in something, but I forgot what I saw it in. And the answer that I found the answer, and the answer was Blue Period. It was in Blue Period. He goes to Kabukicho, and it was not the classic. What's it called? The sign. It was like all the hosts. Like it was the host banners. I'm like, I know that parking lot. That's the parking lot in Yakuza, where all those host banners are. I'm like, I know where that is. That's near like that steak shop or whatever. But that, and I was like, that's where you find a lot of guys that you beat up, like to the northeast part. Like I wonder, but that is like a weird bit of just like drawing, uh, you know, life, and the pleasures of drawing art from life is being able to like connect with it and see other people's little bits here and there. But anyhow, art, that's the art of it all.
Yeah, and the Yakuza games, they like recreate really quite well a lot of the spaces
Right,
they
which
represent, right?
I presume so, and that's why I was able to clue in on that host billboard,
Yeah.
across two, because they're both drawing from the same source. That like giant billboards of hosts, like presumably covering a parking lot. That's another place I would go if I was a millionaire. Mostly all these places over in East Asia that would be very expensive to fly to. But if an angel investor gave me $1 million, I'm like, yeah, I could probably do like what's the one I'm thinking of? The Bit Summit. Bit Summit, is Bit Summit one?
I would believe you.
Bit Summit sounds like an event.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, Bit Summit's an indie game show.
Well, there's also Otaru, right? They have in Japan, no? I think.
Maybe.
Because here in Belgium we have like Brotaru, which is supposed to be Brussels and Otaru, and
Okay.
it's like ported over from the Japanese thing, apparently, as the story goes.
Brutal. Such
Yeah.
a good name.
I mean, it sounds dumb in English. 'cause
Yes.
it sounds
No,
like a
right.
bro-
With the-
whatever.
Right. If you're translating to like American English, it takes on a very different connotation.
Yeah, and a pretty strange one in game spaces.
Yes. Right. You're right. It takes an extremely different connotation of like, of your game bros.
But yeah.
But it is that those nice to try. H&R Block, I've changed who I do my taxes with. I need to unsubscribe from them. But yeah, that is like it is neat to see more like indie cross-cultural exchange among people. Because it feels like a portmanteau that's using bro, but bro is like not actually part of the portmanteau at all.
Yeah, it's like just Otaru and then BR for like Brussels, because that's
Yes.
where the event is at. It's in Brussels.
Yeah, and like, I forget who they crossed with, but like there was like, because I know, I'm getting the Australian group because I think, like Boshi's place in New York had done like a little like cross, like they've done like, hey, let's do like cross group hangouts with. They did one with an Australian. I think they did one with like a Chinese indie group, if I remember right. And just like little indie groups spotting out and just like, hey, let's do like share each other's games. Like let's do a meetup night where we're just meeting up across the world with each other.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah,
That's cool.
because it is hard for like independent developers to travel to a lot of events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even smaller musicians do that because they're like playing shows. But independent game developers do not really sell things at events usually.
But that's why the kind of like culture growing right now around like physical media is super cool. And for example, like what you're doing, selling tapes and stuff, is also super cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like it drums up some interest because it makes it almost like an event, a happening, a thing.
Right.
It's so much cooler to have like a tape than just like a digital file on your
Yes.
computer.
Yeah, I had tried doing like postcards with codes on the back, and it did not really work very well. Like people did not just like connect with it in the same way of like
Interesting.
wanting a thing.
Yeah.
And the price has definitely like gone up recently. I assume because of all AI stuff. It's just making computer stuff super expensive. But that just means it's gone up to $2 a USB stick as opposed to $1, which is still extremely affordable.
It's quite a
Yeah.
big like percent rise, though, I suppose.
Yeah, 100% rise is a big percent. I'm like,
Yeah.
it makes me go, oh, I don't want to spend this money on that, even though it's like still absurdly cheap to make these things.
I mean, it's pretty nice. I don't know where you're getting $2 USB sticks.
It was AliExpress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just AliExpress, straight from the source. I guess I could go to like Alibaba and like, but then you have to like contact the seller and like more work. I don't feel like doing. I just want to be able to click a little buy it now thing and get a bunch of things shipped to me. But that does. I mean, the important thing is it allows like. I think that sort of thing slowly changes game culture in a way because it lets different people like go to events.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's largely people who can afford like to pay like a couple grand to go to an event and not make any money back.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My initial thought was selling on CD-ROMs or
My God, I love
DVD-ROMs,
CD-ROMs.
but I had to, since I had to buy a burner for my own computer. I was like, maybe, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely found that with like selling CDs is like a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't have a CD player.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like that's kind of fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most people
the
haven't
USB
for a while.
sticks work more.
Yeah, that's the,
CD-ROMs, such charm, such swag. I mean, come on.
yeah. I have it. Like I said, my Asterism soundtrack was ripped straight from the disc onto my computer. I've got the disc drive still.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just did like an internship, working for like a local kind of media art space here in Brussels, and it was about like CD-ROMs because they had like a collection of CD-ROMs from like a media library that's closing down, not getting financed anymore.
Right.
And so I was like sorting all their CD-ROMs and testing them, and what people did with CD-ROMs in terms of like game type stuff was so cool and interesting. And I feel like there's some like direct heritage there, like between some interactive CD-ROM stuff and like people making like weird kind of niche games.
Yes.
There's the same weird approach to like mechanics and stuff where it's like, actually, do we need this? Do we care about this? It's just like things happening,
Yeah.
and you're along for it.
Yeah, I feel like the CD-ROM era, like game history is just like such in a bad spot, where it doesn't. I feel like it's starting to get like explored a lot more, but there's
Yeah.
also like part of it is like access,
For sure.
like you can fire up YouTube or even like a Spotify and listen to like tons of albums, like from the entire history of music. And you can like sort of do that with games. It is like less like there's the kind of legality side eye of it all. Which I think is also sometimes a barrier for some people, maybe, or who knows?
There's a fair amount of like CD-ROM games on archive.org
Yeah,
that I found,
Yeah, true.
which is cool.
and I think part of it is just like finding more of like the culture around it of being more people being like, check out the CD-ROM game I was playing on archive.org and telling you like that very small scale word of mouth of like telling your friend about these CD-ROM games you like,
Hmm.
which is like the hardest part. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, the access part also, like with a lot of them running on like, I mean, older OSs, like you need a virtual machine running
right.
sometimes. There's a lot of steps to get them going.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
emulation is mostly good for most things, except not all things.
Yeah. What I found is that the way some of the games were coded, like one of them in particular, it was like I could not for the life of me play it correctly because it was like coded so that the frame rate would be get accorded to like CPU basically.
Right.
And so like with newer CPUs, it would make the game go freaking crazy. Like you would basically it was so fast I
Right.
couldn't do or click on anything.
Right. It's like
It was
it's running at like 6,000 frames a second and moving that
exactly,
fast.
yeah. It's like I just want to spin around, please.
Yes. Yes. No, that is. Um. As I mentioned, the like why I like going to events and buying stuff from somebody that is like getting it from a person and getting a physical thing and also like being able to like pass it around to my friends because a lot of times like stuff you'll get at like small indie shows, a lot of it is like how would you find that thing ever otherwise. Uh, and a lot of the a lot of the you've seen scrolling a lot of the Indiepocalypse scrolling cover arts. A lot of them are from artists that I just bought something from at a convention.
They're so cool. It's like the cover arts are
Yeah.
always going hard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just tell them to do
Forward
literally
to
whatever
it.
they want, and they
They deliver.
do.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's like an endless testament to like if you give people artistic freedom, they'll just use it, and
Hmm.
like unconstrained, like yeah, I'm just like I'm trying how many people I've come across. Like the little deer that just passed was from someone I met at Magfest. The hiker is someone I had seen at a show where actually I bought their book like 8 years ago before Indiepocalypse even existed. And then I saw them at a different zine fest and I was like, oh yeah, right. I dug out their book. This most recent issue cover from Alex Sippel is also I bought that at Anime NYC because I was going up there and among all the anime fan art I was like, are you anyone who was bold enough to bring their original comic to an anime convention? I felt like I needed to buy it from them because I'm like,
Oh,
yes, you did not do this is not fan art for this is not Jujutsu Kaisen fan art. This is your own individual comic that you dared to bring.
Yeah, it's super hard, right, for artists trying like sometimes trying to make stuff that isn't fan art and just getting like noticed for
Yeah.
that at shows and getting to sell it also, getting people like drummed up and hyped about your own original production.
Yeah, like you need a good indie show. Like I'm
Yeah.
fortunate in that Massachusetts has a good indie comic show. It's been around forever, but if you don't have one, you're probably going to like anime cons or comic cons, where you're probably selling, a flavor of the month anime, the most, and which creates a weird thing for game developers because game developers can't do that. They can't like sell a bunch
Game
of
fan art.
right. You can't sell a bunch of Gokus whatever to make your money while you make your actual independent your original games on the side.
Unless it's Toho, apparently, or so I've been told.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Like if you make a Toho game, that is your game. That's like not even a. I mean, it's fan art, fan game, kind of, but not fan quite. It's a whole other thing, you know. There's some stuff going on with that. It's like fair use with like it's like the rules are very minor, like they're very small. I think like I don't think you can be like adult games, and you can't use them as guest characters. And there's probably another like large rule that I can't think about, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But I think those are two of the bigger ones that you would most likely run afoul of. Like you can't like if you just made like you can't like, oh, I'm going to use Reimu as a guest character, like because then it's not really like a fan game anymore.
Only we're not getting her in Smash. This is so sad.
No,
This is
no,
so sad.
no Toho in Smash. Well, Toho can't be in Smash because it's not a Fire Emblem, and I think they only put Fire Emblems in Smash now.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
That's
other,
right.
or other. It would have to be a Toho with a sword. If I remember what I remember about Smash. Yeah, a lot of it is very much like copyright holders just like look the other way. Like it's just kind of like an understood part of it, of like culture in a weird way. But also feels like a thing that if they decide it would just like evaporate in a second.
Except if you're like a Pokemon fan game, in which case you're about to get murdered on
Right.
The
worldwide
Pinkertons are going to
internet.
come to your house. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, but when people have asked, like, you know, people have borrowed assets before for games in Indiepocalypse, the beauties of Plunder Ludix and Plunder Core, and I always say, it's fine, because also, if I ever run into if a company ever gets mad because someone in Indiepocalypse used their assets, that means that I got enough attention for them to notice me. At which point I will say, "I'm sorry." I'll pinch my
This little
dimple.
guy.
I'll pinch my dimples and say, "I'm sorry. We'll change it." But at that point, presumably enough people are paying attention to it that it's, hey, that's a good thing. But I'm generally flying under the radar, knowing that Nintendo is like paying attention to the fact that, you know, I'm commissioning people who are using Mario Kart DS Delfino Plaza maps in their games.
I mean, yeah, it has its advantages for sure.
Yeah, and it is all transformative anyway. So I mean, I would argue it's transformative. So like at that
It
point,
is, yeah.
Yeah.
at that point, who cares? It's collage. If you want to use like a more
Right.
more high concept where it's all collage art.
Mhm.
But Plunder Core just sounds cooler.
Yeah.
It does.
Than collage, but we are hitting the 2-hour mark with the show, which is when I start to try to wrap up this show. Oh, look at that! I did not see that. I knew I was getting codes, but did not see that it was fully out now. Perfect Tide Station is up in the fresh games on itch. Which is also very cool. It's in the fresh games, but I wonder if it's because a lot of people are like redeeming their codes
Right.
from the Kickstarter. All right, anyway. Yeah, I wonder, there is definitely sneaky stuff in the very first issue of Indiepocalypse. There's those little guys, those little Easter eggs, if you will, that the artist drew in there, including like the Sitgo sign. I think is the Sitgo sign in there to get to real fucking Massachusetts regionalisms. But anyway, that is what I want to see in Was The Last of Us in Boston? And did they have the Sitco sign? If not, I don't think it was actually in Boston. Is it even a Sitco sign anymore? Am I making stuff up?
I just believe whatever you say.
Yeah.
So,
There's a big large Sitco sign. You know, it's the weird thing about how like corporations become like iconography. There's just a giant Sitco sign that's like visible from Fenway Park. That's like a weird bit of iconography. Anyhow, that said, as we begin to wrap up, does anyone have any pressing questions, any pressing remarks before we get into the wrap up? Any non-promotional, because of course, as any good show goes, the final section of the show is the promotional section. Wait.
I just want to say thanks for
Yes.
having me. Thanks for doing your thing.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
This has been
thank you,
sick.
Andrew.
Everything has been sick.
So thank you all for joining me. The Sitco sign might be moving. I'm wondering about the Sitco sign. Anyhow,
Oh.
but
Just like gonna pretend like I know about the Sicko sign and
yeah, it's when you find your time to go to PAX East, when we're all big hotshot indie devs who are traveling all the events around the world, and you go to PAX East, you see that big ugly sign and be like, ah, it's that big ugly sign that Andrew mentioned. I don't know if that's anywhere near the Boston Convention Center. I don't go to Boston too often. Not necessarily as a city I feel like I need to visit. I'm more of a Providence guy. It's smaller, it's cooler, better vibes. But speaking of good vibes, our guests here all have great vibes, and if you want to follow those vibes to websites, we're gonna find out where those websites are. Starting with, hey Claire, if people are looking to find your work, where would you direct them to find it?
My website is shimmerwitch.space, which I don't update as often as I should, but that is my website.
Right. As long as it'll get you most of the way there, you know?
Yeah, uh-huh.
As long as it gets you to other things.
Yes, it definitely will.
And plus, you know, the beauty of also having your own webpage is, you know, it'll just be there, you know? You can
Yeah,
just update it.
it's there when I need it.
If you ever like, "Ugh, I don't want to make any other website, you still have that URL. Very handy.
That's true.
Well, perfect. Horia, if people are looking for your stuff, where can people go to find that?
I don't have a lot of social media. They can find me on X, ghostsandwitches.itch.io, or I do have a website, ghostsandwitches.necoweb.org.
Perfect.
But
Yes.
that's about it.
No, I mean, I think I said it at the top, or even in the pre-show, this was a 2 no social media handle, 2 for 3 no social media handles that I could find guests, which is also a fun thing. Like I said, it's nice to get off of it, because if you realize it doesn't diminish your life that much, you know.
No, in fact, it may even improve it
Right.
in some respect.
Yeah.
It helps you like the pleasure of local friends, you know. I know it's, you know, obviously it's a difficult thing for, you know, it's not an easy thing that anyone can have all the time, and that's sometimes where the internet comes in handy. But the fact that I instinctually had to add that addendum to that statement, because it was a very internet addendum, you know, very why do you hate waffles kind of thing,
Yeah.
which, man, dude, I hate waffles. No, I like waffles. I love waffles. I feel like that's like a pivotal text of like the internet, and like it should be literally in textbooks of trying to understand like online internet communication of like, yeah,
It
no
is on
one's,
point.
if
I
people
mean,
aren't
it's on
familiar,
point.
there's a pivotal text where someone's just like, the internet will be like, you make a post like, I like pancakes, and people will be like, why do you hate waffles? And he's like, I wasn't talking about waffles. What are you talking about? It is an imperfect encapsulation of just like internet main character syndrome or whatever. But speaking of main character, we got a main character of this third part of the I don't know Jay from Blue Sky. I'm not going to learn about anyone on Blue Sky. I do not. I am past my life where I need to learn about internet personalities. I think there's been one internet personality I thought was funny on the internet, and that was Drill. And it's still funny. It's still funny that. Please help me. Please help me. My family is dying. And I will never buy less candles. Anyhow, Colby, where can people find your work if they're looking to find it?
I also have an itch. I'm Bird Boys on basically everything. I also have a website, but it's like a GitHub URL that's ghetto, and I don't remember it. So just go to my itch; it's there as well.
Yeah, perfect. And I think the GitHub is listed on your GitHub website is just listed on your itch page. So perfect. That is, and of course, hey, Indiepocalypse.com is a great place to buy Indiepocalypse because just the money gets to me faster. It's also a little bit cheaper there, as a little incentive to, hey, people, buy stuff. And if you buy it, for instance, issues number 72 or 63, these people here will get money eventually. Usually, the classic, $5 to $6 a year is something you all have to look forward to. I think you might have gotten that already through issue 63, but Claire, that's a little snip into your future of eventually getting once a year.
It's a bright
excited.
future.
$6 to $7 US to however that translates into your own local currency.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
And then of course, indiepocalypse.com/Patreon is where you subscribe to it if you prefer to subscribe to things. That's also, if people, I now have theoretical goals for that, which is, I've started publishing people writing about games. The most recent one, a bit about.
It's super cool, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That is just me, wanting more writing about Indiepocalypse and being like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to pay people for it at this point. It's an extension of Indiepocalypse is like, wow, I wish people would pay people for making short experimental games. I guess I will do that. So I'm just paying people to write about these games that I think are cool and I think people should write about. I'm becoming the editor. As someone who got a lot of it's hard. No one editorial is not going to support, but my editor. I'm like, well, I'll be I'm the same way to be the person who will pay for weird art games and no one will pay for. I will also pay for you to write about the weird art games and no other editor will pay you to write about. But that's a very long path to say that I've started doing that. And if more money on Patreon, I can publish them more frequently. That's it. We did mention tapes. Indiepocalypse.com/tape is where you can get things like Indiepocalypse and physical editions, or things like Asterism just by themselves. And then you can also get your own games added to printed in physical editions. That's it. Oh, submit Indiepocalypse.com/submit is where you submit games to have your games ideally be featured in Indiepocalypse at some point. That's it, though. That's the end of the thing. Colby, Horia, Claire, thanks for joining me today. Been a pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you.
for having us.
Thank you all. I forgot to say, I got spun around. It was Mila Grish who wrote that thing on Spindle Wheel. I wanted to make sure I got the full name right. had a first, was missing a last. And thank you all for listening. Thanks people for tuning into this show and creating this kind of. I am community. I am a community resistant person because I don't think everything needs a community, but I think it is nice to have a loose collection of awareness of one another. I think more art needs loose connections of awareness. The kind of person that if we were all at a maze, we could wave and be like, "Oh, hey, it's you, that person," and then we'll see each other next year. And then that's it. You don't need to be in 8 million discords and always talking. I think it's a fun human relationship to have. A very casual
No
one.
stress.
Mostly because I've encountered like 730 people through this project. That's too many people to keep in my brain. Anyway, goodbye. That's the end of the show.